Welcome. It's 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. The Tooele City Council and the Redevelopment Agency of Tooele City are meeting in a work meeting. This work meeting is being held at Tooele City Hall in the council chambers located at 90 North Main Street in Tooele, Utah. We're also streaming this electronically on the Tooele City YouTube channel. We will start with the roll call. Councilman Gossett.
Present.
Councilwoman Goches.
Present.
Councilman Hanson.
Present.
I'm Councilman Brady. I'm present, and Councilman McCall is asked to be excused tonight. Move on to item 3, the mayor's report.
Hello, thank you, Council. Just a couple of things. I'll start with the sad news, I guess. As most of you heard, there was an officer-involved shooting today in Tooele City. Thankfully, none of our officers are injured, and they're all physically well. So there will be, of course, an investigation in that shooting, but we're thankful that nobody was hurt on the Tooele side. So, and we appreciate our officers and the work they put in to keep our city safe. Also, on happier news, I guess, I have been, thankfully, I've met with all the directors since I'm new in this position, and I've been out with a lot of them to just see, things around the city, the shops and the parks and such, and I just want to reiterate how great our staff is and the good work they do to keep our city looking great and running smoothly, and they've been a great help to me. And then finally, I just want to remind everybody that it is America 250, but as part of our 4th of July parade, we have a Grand Marshal every year, and nominations are open for that Grand Marshal, just somebody who portrays the American spirit. So if you know somebody, be sure to send that in so we can consider them for our Grand Marshal of our parade, and that's all I have today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll move on to item 4, the council members' report. We'll start with Councilman Hanson.
So lots going on, but I appreciate the opportunity to do interviews with the mayor and Jamie as they were replacing Jamie today. So that was exciting about that. It was fun to be part of that process and know that we got the right guy. So that's great. Also, that shooting today happened in the parking lot of my business today, and in one of the vehicles I own is where the guy was. But I just needed to talk about it just for a minute, because when I went to work this morning, the police had surrounded that motorhome, and of course I was really nervous for my employees and those around there. But I got to tell you that Tooele City Police and the other departments that came after them, I mean, they're very professional and very communicative, and kept me knowing what's going on. And as the day went on, as the different the state, as they were there and they was investigating and stuff, and I was involved in some of that. But anyway, it was just good to see such a good process. And as some of our guys seen some of it happening, they were just impressed on how well our city officials did, and knew that there was really nothing else they could do but what happened. But yeah, it's sad for not only our officers to be involved in something like that, but for our community, and then for the family of the man that was there today. So, but anyway, that's kind of hits home when it's right there in your yard and you're there as part of it. So it's just, anyway, Adrian, thank you today for your help, and we appreciate all that. But that's my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Goches.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I attended the local officials' day at the legislature. It was held at the state capitol in the South Palace Convention Center. I met with some representatives. Representative Peck took me on a tour of the Capitol Quad, and I also attended a council committee meeting on solar panels. It was very interesting. I'm on the Legislative Policy Committee, and I've been attending legislative policy meetings and find them to be very interesting, and I appreciate the updates by House Speaker Schultz and all of the efforts that the League of Cities and Towns are doing in our behalf. I also attended by Zoom a meeting with the Utah Transit Authority Board of Trustee meeting. That was on the 28th, and happy to report to Shiloh that I completed my required training. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thanks. Councilman Gossett.
I'm still the new kid on the block, so I'm trying to get everything figured out. But Shiloh's got me all the information that I've needed, and I think we're up and running, and hopefully we'll have some meetings to go to, so I'll have something to report on. So
Sounds
that's
great.
it.
Thank you. I don't really have a lot to report, just typical staff meeting, the mayor's staff meeting, and just the appreciation we have for the staff. So thanks for all that you do as a staff, and we have some of the best. We'll move on to our discussion items. Our first discussion item is a discussion on a public comment policy discussion. This is presented by Matthew Johnson, the city attorney.
Thank you, council. I appreciate having some time on tonight's work meeting. As you know, there's a public comment policy in place now. It was last amended in 2024, and a big part of having this policy in place is, on the one hand, to allow the public to have that public comment time to bring up things that might not be on the agenda, but things that they would like to bring to the attention, but also to make sure that we clarify that city council meeting is a limited public forum, meaning they can't talk about everything under the sea. It's limited to what's relevant to Tooele City Council. What kind of sparked these comments is conversations that I had with Shiloh Baker, the city recorder, regarding written comments. And even though there's some red lines in your packet for other parts, that's really the big part that we wanted to have addressed. The issue we were hitting is the city recorder was getting some emails that, first of all, there was junk mail. It's like, well, what do we do with that? There were some emails that otherwise seemed to comply, but were not signed. They were sent anonymously. And there were other email. There was one in particular that came in after the policy said the day before it came in after, so the day of city council meeting. And the question is, well, the policy doesn't say whether we disregard it, whether we put it to the next city council meeting. If it was a public hearing, it'd be a little different, because once the hearing's over and the vote's taken, sure, it's just too late. But with open public comment period, it left that question open. So that's the big part of what's addressed in the written comments part of it. It clarifies that written comments can be submitted to the city recorder or to the email address. We kind of left open that theoretically someone could mail one to the city recorder or something else. We put a deadline of 5:00 p.m. the day prior to the meeting. That's a time that seemed to make sense. If another time seems better to council, certainly that's not set in stone. And we clarified the difference between the deadline for a public hearing versus the open public comment period. For, like I said before, for a public hearing, if you miss the deadline and the hearing happens, well, we can't take it the next meeting. But with open public comment, we could. So that's the way we tried to structure it, is to say, if it's a comment for the open public comment period and it comes after the deadline, well, that'll just go to 2 weeks later. Another big part is that we added that all the rules for verbal comments also apply to written comments. So if something comes in anonymously, or if something is obscene or abusive, or if something doesn't really address the city council, it addresses the mayor or public departments or just the public, then the chair has the option to disregard those. Other than that, the other red lines are a little more general. I think the hope was to clarify that these do, I think it already said that this policy applies to both the public comment period and to public hearings, but just to clarify that a little bit. But if there's any questions for me or comments, suggestions?
Just the time. I just was thinking about it because 5:00 PM is the end of the day for the city anyway. Is it going to make any difference if we made it later? The reason I'm thinking that is because people who work during the day and they're getting home about then, and if they wanted to make a public comment in the evening,
Sure.
and make it a little bit later so they could do that night, then it would still be here the next morning when they got there. I don't want to wait till the day of.
Right.
But maybe later, I don't know.
One thought I think that Shiloh and I talked about would be just the end of the calendar day. I would suggest if we did that, we'd do maybe 11:59 just to make it crystal clear that,
Sure.
That,
Yeah.
you know.
I think that would be better, just my thoughts. The rest of it, I read it over. I think you did really well, so.
Any other comments? I'm fine with changing the time too. I think you get the same result, right? If they send it at 5 or 11:59, it'll be read the next morning, so.
The recorder will, get it the next day anyway.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it still gives us time to prepare the comments. And is everyone else okay if we make that change?
Yes.
Okay. And then I think everything else is great, so
Okay. If that looks okay, I'll bring it back with a resolution with that change then.
that'd be great.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, Matt. Our next discussion item is a discussion on Resolution 2026-03, a resolution of the Tooele City Council amending the Tooele City fee schedule, adding an annual fee for the use of the Tooele City Police Department gun range, presented by Adrian Day, Police Chief.
Thank you, Council. We have a lease agreement with ARCO. It expires in December of 2090. It's $100 we pay for this lease of the firearms range on the end of Smelter Road. We have a lot of agencies reach out to use this range, and I'm not accepting any outside agencies from this valley anymore. We're just too busy, especially with the Tooele Tech Academy out here using it for the cadets. We can only use this for police training, this firearms range. But we have turning targets that have airlines and air compressor, weed suppression, storage sheds, paper targets, cleanup that we've been taking care of. And for the use of this range, we'd like to add an annual fee to these local agencies of about $1,000 per year to help with these needs. We've been taking care of it with our budget, and we'd like to have those helping with that also that are using the range. There's things that break while we use it. And I failed to notice in the resolution itself, it says other law enforcement agencies use of the gun range. We probably should add, and the Tooele Tech Police Academy in there. They're not a police agency, but it is obviously for police training. And I can answer any questions.
Any questions or comments?
No, I'm not as familiar with it. I walk up Anaconda, and I stay away if I hear people shooting, but is it open to the public at times too, or is this a separate range?
It is separate from the gun club.
Okay, gun
It's
club's-
behind the berm there, yeah.
Oh, okay, thanks.
You really, you can't see it when you're up on it. You can see it from the south.
And I'm just assuming that $1,000 a year per agency is just to cover costs. It's not to try and to improve or to make things, to get more money for that, or is it just to cover the cost of what you figure it is for cleanup?
Just cover the cost of, a lot of times these airlines break when they turn the compressor on too high, and we have to go in and fix them. They're using our paper targets, some of them, and it's just to pay the fair share. It's not making anything.
And then I'd seen in the resolution that you had to recover the lead. That's not every year or anything. It just said you needed to recover it occasionally. Is that a big deal?
If that ever comes into effect, that'll be a huge cost.
Yeah. I got some grandkids would love to dig up the lead mine, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a requirement under
I just seen it in there, and I thought, oh boy, is that...
a different administration. That hasn't been one under this presidency administration at all. Hasn't been brought up. It was brought up in years past, And we were looking at that. That was a high dollar amount. It may be we'd have to walk away from it is what we were looking at it at the time, but it hasn't been brought up again. If we
I
do
don't even
have
know if
to,
it's important, that it even gets taken out. I mean, you have the gun club there, they're shooting
it depends.
BBs everywhere that are lead, and I don't think they pick them up.
Yeah,
either,
it depends if we ever become responsible. If it's required we do it, we have to, if we're going to remain on this lease.
Yeah, all right.
We may have to increase it then.
Yeah, well, I'm just worried about that.
Yeah,
All
me
right,
too.
thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, this is on our business meeting tonight as well, so we'll vote on it. Thank you. Thanks, Chief. We'll move on to our next discussion item, a discussion on Resolution 2026-05, a resolution of the Tooele City Council authorizing a payment of fee in lieu of water rights conveyance for Holiday Oil on Franks Drive, presented by John Perez, the Economic Development Director.
Good evening, council. Yes, so this is authorizing a payment in fee of lieu of water rights conveyance for Holiday Oil on Franks Drive. This is the northeast corner of Franks Drive and 1000 North. So this resolution takes into account the November 1st, 2023 policy with the 2-year expiry for the vertical construction. And then you'll see there, that's an Exhibit B. And then you'll see in Exhibit A, there was a letter received from Brent Neal, who represents Holiday Oil. And it's a 2.27 acre feet of water request, and that was confirmed by the city engineer, Paul Hansen. And you'll see the proposal addresses in the following ways: an estimated capital investment between 7.5 to 8 million, the creation of 10 to 15 jobs, with average remuneration for a cashier between $14 and $18 per hour, $35,000 to $55,000 annually for an assistant manager, and then approximately $80,000 for a general manager or store manager position. And they also noted that they have the opportunity for seasonal workers, for high schoolers. And then the generation of new commercial activity. So it says Holiday Oil anticipates over 15 million in sales annually, and that's broken down just under 12 million in fuel sales, and then about 3.5 million in convenience store sales. And you say, oh, wow, that sounds quite high. But it's important to notice that for the fuel sales, most of that doesn't come to us because of the gas tax. So then really just the convenience store sales. And if you look in that letter, I think they label it estimated sales tax revenue. So let's not be confused like last time, right? That's actual sales. So then if you say, oh, well, what do we get out of a similar, convenience store, not to name names, right? But you might say in the neighborhood for the convenience store, between $1,500 to $2,000 a month. So then you might say between approximately 30-ish thousand a year in sales tax that we actually receive. So don't be confused with the letter, the way it's worded in there. And then you'll see on the next page in the letter, you'll see the layout on Franks Drive in 1000 North, and as I said, the northeast corner. And there is no car wash at this property, just to be clear. There is no car wash at this location. Any questions? And if you were doing the math, the 2.27, that equates to 79,450.
I had a question.
Yes.
I'm the only one with questions, I guess. Actually, Councilman Gossett called me this morning and asked me a bunch of questions about this water exaction. Because I was looking at the property and it doesn't really look like they're watering anything outside.
Well, there's restrooms in there, and then I'm sure they have, and Paul can correct me if the Zero Escape, right? Yeah.
Well, there it is. I mean, I just seemed like maybe we was giving too much water, but maybe it's not. Yeah, I'm sure Paul's doing
Well,
the right thing.
they provided the similar usage. They provided similar usage for other locations, and this does kind of fit that.
Match up,
Yeah.
okay. It just seemed like a couple bathrooms, but I'm sure
Yeah.
there's something there. It just doesn't look like anything's being watered.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but there is that drip irrigation, or
Okay.
however you want to phrase it.
All right. Okay.
I've got a question, and it
Yes.
doesn't really pertain to this, but I just had a question of when's construction going to begin, do you know?
Well, I don't know exactly. It still has that 2-year expiry in here, but they have been reaching out to community development, for some initial stuff. So I believe, right, Andrew, haven't they submitted some site plans?
They submitted their building permit application.
Yeah.
We anticipate a couple weeks and they'll be kicking that off.
Great.
Yay, right?
Yeah.
But $3.5 million is a lot of sodas, just saying.
Right.
And candy.
But they'll be close to Overlake, so them guys will be really drinking a lot of soda. Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
It's a great location.
It is a
yeah.
good location.
Chairman Brady will probably be a frequent customer, right?
My kids will be for sure, yeah.
So I've got a dumb question.
Yes.
What if they choose down the road to add a car wash to this? How
Well-
does that affect the water situation?
They would have to
s-
come back and request more water, and then you guys would say no.
Unless they were able
Sure?
to find
Yeah,
their
no,
own.
you're right, yeah, we would.
Yes.
Yeah, they could build a car wash if they find water on
If
their
they have their own.
yes.
Own water shares.
Right,
Kind of had it as our policy that we're not
right. Yeah.
giving,
We don't need another
Fee,
quick
yeah.
quack water usage, right?
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're not anti-car wash. I just
Yeah,
think that should be
They gotta get
stressed.
their own water, yeah.
Just- Yeah, it's the water.
right, right.
Okay.
Another question I have, just out of curiosity, once they begin construction on this, 1000 North has a temporary light. Do you know when they'll install a permanent light?
Well, to my understanding, that onus still lies on UDOT. I don't believe they have any responsibility for the upgrades on that. And I could be mistaken. Paul can correct me if I'm wrong, or Jamie.
Oh, this spring, good.
And that's on UDOT, though. It's not,
It's UDOT holiday.
they're paying. Okay, all right.
And part of that will be improving like the turn lane, right? That's where it's needed.
Yeah,
More than the temporary light.
yeah.
Okay. Good. I think this will do well right there, so I
Yes.
support this. This is on our business meeting tonight, so we'll vote on this
Right.
as well. Okay, thanks, John.
Thank you.
Next discussion item is a discussion on an effective date for changes to city fees discussion. This is presented by Shannon Wimmer, the Finance Director.
Good evening, council. I had the opportunity to meet on building permit procedures and some items with our community development director. And in that discussion, part of what we were talking about is how we want to handle when fees are increased by the city and we have building permits that have been applied for but haven't been paid for or picked up. And at what point do we start charging those new costs? As I'm sure you guys are aware, the city is not allowed to charge a fee that makes any type of a profit. So all of our fees are strictly based off of what our costs are. And then as our costs go up, we realize, okay, we need to relook at this fee. We do a study, we bring it back to the council, it's adopted. So by the time we implement the new fee, the city is already paying those new costs. And so we talked through a few different options of, do we wait till the building permit's approved and then give them a certain amount of time to pick it up? Do we do it immediately? So I then had the opportunity to meet with the city attorney, and he informed me that the fee is not really locked in until the permit is paid. So we also discussed this a little bit in staff meeting, and we came up with what we believe the best thing to do is to implement the new fee when it is adopted by the city council. So if you adopted a fee today, we usually notice the public to put it on your meeting and whatnot, but we would then implement that fee the next day. So if there were permits that were applied for, those new fees would go on those permits. Of course, we will put a notice on the building permits now that just says if the fees update, we'll update them, we'll put that online. I mean, we'll take care of all that stuff if that's the way that we decide to go. This mainly affects us for like impact fees, water meter fees, as we update those. So, and as I talked to Matt, he figured the best way we should, the cleanest way is to update this code. So this is a proposal to see if this is the way the council would like this fee implemented. This would update, this is code 126-1, but it's the number 2. So it would now read, when the city council enacts a change to any fee, the new fee amount shall apply to all new and pending applications and submissions for which the fee has not been paid in full, except where the fee amount is otherwise vested by law or by written agreement with the city. So obviously, if we had some other commitment, we would do that. So I just wanted to see if the council had any direction on that or any questions that we could answer.
I think it's the cleanest way to do it, and it makes it just black and white, and there's not this gray area that, so I like it as it's written, that it just goes into effect the day after the law is passed, so, or the resolution, not law, but.
Agreed.
Any other comments?
Just for those who already have something that's been approved, but they haven't paid the fee, we'll just provide notice that the fee is going to increase.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we would need to notify them that when they come pick up their permit, this fee is going to be increased to whatever it increases to, yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Is this something you would like, are we okay to bring this code change back for a business meeting? Is there any other discussion we need to have on it?
I don't know, I have a little heartburn with it, just because
Okay.
if they've applied for their permit, but they haven't paid for it yet, because they don't pay for it till Andrew says this is how much it is, or whoever says, but we raise the fee while that process is going on, that just seems weird to me. I don't know.
And we talked through some of that because it's true, and some of these commercial projects can take, a
Forever,
while
yeah, and so I
to
see
go
why
through.
we'd want to do that, because if it takes a year for them to get through it, then the costs go up, but I just think of the little guy, we apply for a permit for a garage in our backyard, and it's $1,100, but in the meantime, the fees go up, so then it's $1,400 or something. It's not a lot of money, but it's just a lot of money to a private individual more, so I don't know.
And that is the hard part. And the offset to that, though, is our costs have already gone up. So the city and the taxpayers are already paying that increased price. So if we don't pass it on to the user who's actually getting the permit,
Sure,
it's
yeah.
subsidized by the others. And so, but I agree with what you're saying.
Just a little heartburn, not a
Agreed.
lot, so. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
I find it to be an actual cost. Like you say, we're not making money. It's a break-even situation, so it just covers the cost of the user, so I think I'm
The impact
favorable.
should be pretty minimal though, right? There's not like a huge backlog that this is going to affect it. Andrew, is there like a huge backlog of people who would?
When fees go up, we will see a slight increase in permit submittals to
Okay.
get their permits in with the existing fees. But it only happens once in a while, not
So they're trying to
Yeah.
circumvent and I don't know, we also talked through the procedures, but if they don't come in and get their permit within a certain amount of time, those will now, I think they've always been being voided in the system, so that we don't just have all of these outstanding permits. Because we would want them then to reapply, not only with new fees, but new procedures that we may have in place, or new guidelines, things like that, so that someone can't come in, apply for a permit, and then in 2 years come back. If they're going through the process, of course, like some of these commercial permits, it's my understanding, take up to a year or more to go through the process. That's not what we're talking about, but just ones that brought them in for review, but then really don't have any intention of actually completing that project. So,
Okay. Thank you. All right, yeah, we'll bring that back to a business meeting.
okay,
so.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 6, okay, no closed meeting. Okay, so there's no closed meeting tonight. So we will adjourn at 5:58 PM, and then we'll reconvene for a business meeting at 7.